Hi guys, Ningen here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and we've got a little bit of a different one today. A little bit of a rant, if you will. Now, I'm sure you've seen the title, and you clicked on it. Some of you are probably heated already, but hear me out, okay? So, I've seen a lot of reactions to the part 2 of the celebration for the, I guess it's just the thank you celebration, but most of us have just been referring to it as the Trunks and Zamasu celebration. A lot of people have been saying that Global has been shafted, which of course, you know, if I had a penny for every time I'd heard somebody say that, I would have as many Dragonstones as the truth. So people love to complain when Global doesn't get something that's exactly what they wanted. But the thing about this that annoys me this time around is people are very quick to forget when they've just had it real good. Like, the thing about this that irks me is the fact that literally 2 weeks ago we were all jumping up and down, and you had people tweeting, like, rubbing it in JP players' faces that we got discounted multis on the banners, we got tickets, and then obviously the Pilaf Trove. You could argue that the value of them wasn't the best, but we had extra tickets that you could buy, as well as other things, including the subscription service, which JP still doesn't have, which I did make a video about it. I don't know if I'd released it at the wrong time, but like, that video didn't do that well. But if you've seen it, I explained in that video just how ridiculously good value the subscription service is, and all of that stuff came out at the same time. We were getting quite a few stones a day. If you bought the subscription pack like I did, you were getting, with the daily missions included, something like 6 or 7 stones per day. Then they brought out the golden weekend missions, so we were getting tons of free stones, and we hit top grossing twice, which a lot of the time they only give out 30 stones when Global hits top grossing, and we actually got 50 the first time, and then we got a second 20 as well. So that was a real, like, high. That was a good time to be a Global main. And now all of a sudden, because part 2 is underwhelming, people have immediately switched back to, oh, Global is shafted, which I absolutely disagree with. So, to back it up, we are going to look at the timeline of events. So, as you can see here, this is the start of the Trunks and Zamasu celebration on JP. So they got the 2 banners with the new units. They got the EZA for Goku Black and the update for Dragon Ball Super Broly event in part 2, and then this is when JP got the Goku event. So we already have that, so we got that earlier in the schedule, and that's it for part 2. Story events came back. Well, actually this was the first time JP got this, and we already had that. Then a world tournament where they got the Gotenks, which I'm not sure if when they got him, I think they got him first actually, but we of course have a world tournament coming up. This is when they got these cards, which again, we already have at this point. So obviously, whilst this happened on JP first, in terms of the schedule for like the Trunks and Trunks and Zamasu stuff, we already had these units. And then we go on to the next Dokkan Fest. So nothing there really looks all that special, does it? And then if we switch over to the timeline of events for Global, we finally got the copy Vegeta stuff. So even though it was something that JP already had, that was another thing that was part of the celebration that we got extra, which, you know, even though it's an event that should have come beforehand, it was nice to get something extra on top. And then for part 2, we have these units with the update again, and then that's it. That's all it's showing on the wiki. But we have a couple of story events have come back, and we have a world tournament coming up as well. So kind of looks very similar, doesn't it? So if we flick over to the actual banners here for JP, so obviously one big sticking point for people is that Kale and Caulifla had already dropped on JP when it got to the Trunks and Zamasu celebration. So I think a lot of people got their hopes up that we were going to get Kale and Caulifla. Did I say Trunks and Mai? I might have done. I've had them on the brain because I've been trying the future no items run. But Kale and Caulifla, people were hoping that we'd get them, but nothing about the celebration on JP implied that we would get them as part 2. People were just hoping that we would. So obviously JP got the banners. They also got a step up banner like the New Year one, but it was a one-time only cycle. This was because of a huge celebration in Japan where they literally got a new emperor and entered a new era. Like, those of you that watch anime, you've obviously heard about like the Meiji era and stuff like that. Like, it's a big deal that that happened. So they got this as a celebration banner. So obviously, that didn't mean we wouldn't see it on Global at some point, but I think people were wrong to expect that we were going to get it as well. So then when we go up here, we obviously see they got the Goku Black Easy A, and then they got a featured LR Beerus banner. And instead of that, we of course have the featured Trunks and Mai and Goku Black banner. Now, obviously it comes down to personal preference, but for me, I would much rather pull dupes of Goku Black and pull Trunks and Mai than pull dupes for Beerus, because I have Beerus at 55%. I don't think I've ever used him, apart from maybe once in Battlefield, because, not saying that he's a bad unit, I don't want to like talk trash about him, but I just don't use him on any of my teams, like, for the things that I want to do. So yeah, I'm actually happier that the banner has those two units on it, because they're more value to me. And obviously if you saw my stream earlier, I did actually drop like 200 stones, and I pulled a dupe for Goku Black and a dupe for LR Bardock. So then I'm going to be saving for what is coming up. So we can't really go by the schedule here, because obviously they then got a Dokkan Fest that we had gotten before this in the schedule. We've got an Easy A that we've already had. Then they got the Heroes stuff, which this is this selection of units that we've had in the schedule already. So the schedule's kind of all out of whack at this point. But the Tanabata banner is the big one that people like to talk about. A lot of people thought that the Tanabata banner was going to come as part 2, and they were going to be able to buy their Go Bros and LR Super Saiyan 4s with their red coins. But this is where I think people have gotten slightly confused, is you see here, although this is the end time for the banner, so actually wait, this isn't even them, is it? It's the Go Bros. This is the Tanabata banner. So let's say it was up for 3 weeks, which is generous, because I don't think it was that long. That would mean that it came out on the 9th of the 7th. Their Trunks and Zamasu celebration was way back in the 5th. So the Tanabata banner was not anything to do with part 2 of the Trunks and Zamasu stuff. So people who were expecting this banner, again, a lot of us thought that it might come as part of part 2, and we were hoping that it would come as part of part 2, but there's actually nothing to indicate that it was going to. It wasn't part of part 2 on JP, so people were just getting their hopes up. So I think I've kind of shown here that when you actually compare them side by side, the two part 2s of the Trunks and Zamasu celebration are basically exactly the same. The only difference is the featured LR banner that we got is slightly different. And of course, in my opinion, and whilst it is subjective, it's better. So I just don't understand this mentality that Global got shafted because we didn't get something that people wanted us to get as part of part 2. But there was no indication that we were going to get it. JP didn't get it as part of part 2 as their celebration, and we didn't get it as part of part 2 of our celebration. So nowhere in that does that imply to me that Global got shafted. So yeah, basically, I don't know, there's not really much else I wanted to cover. Like, that is the topic of discussion. I think I've kind of shown here that Global did not get shafted. Like, you might think part 2 of the celebration is disappointing. Like, I might even agree with you. But when you compare it to JP, it's the same. So we didn't get shafted. And like, the thing that I replied to before is a tweet that literally said, like, use the term that Global was getting done dirty. And it's like, as I said at the beginning of the video, 2 weeks ago, us Global mains were rejoicing in the streets that part 1 of the celebration was so much better than JP. Like, even Truth tweeted out that he would kill to have the ticket stuff on JP that we have on Global. Like, the biggest JP main who will, like, probably argue tooth and nail that you should switch to JP and not main Global, wishes that we had the tickets from Global on JP. So Global was eating good for part 1. And the thing that has annoyed me and triggered this video, essentially, is the fact that people seem to have immediately forgotten how good part 1 was and want to immediately jump back on the, oh, Global gets shafted, like, bandwagon. Like, there are advantages and disadvantages to both versions. I know a lot of it for a lot of people, including myself, it just comes down to, I had played Global for quite a long time, put a lot of time and money into it before I even knew that JP was the thing, so there was no way I was going to switch. I would love to be on JP and have all the new units as soon as they come out, but for me, I like the fact that the game's all in English. I can read all of the menus, I know exactly what I'm doing, I don't need to remember who has what link by checking the wiki, because it's all right there on the screen in English. And even though they have been changing it up quite a lot, we do have a general idea of what's coming in the future and what to save for. So like I said, I'm never going to try and argue that you should prefer one version over the other, but I am a proud global main. And whilst, like I said, part 2 of the celebration might be a little bit disappointing, but it's no more disappointing than part 2 of the celebration was on JP. So, if anything, somebody pointed it out in one of the replies on my Twitter. If you want to look at the silver lining, there's nothing that you need to waste your stones on as part of part 2, so you can just keep saving for whatever's coming in the future. Not to mention the fact that we did have the news. Let me see if it's on here. I probably should have brought this up straight away, because I probably won't be able to find it. But we do have the thing in the news about, yeah, here we go, this thing. So Global is getting something that is happening, and we don't know what it is. Some people have said it's going to be a new friend LR. Some people have said it will be the step up banner. I mean, I don't know if they would announce it in this way if it was. Personally, I hope it's something completely brand new. But I mean, I'm not really sure what that would be or what that would look like. But hey, at the end of the day, Global is still chugging along. Like, part 2 is the same as it was on JP, if not better. And then we've even got whatever this is that's going to be coming soon. Who knows? I'm sure you know what's going to happen. This is going to be something awesome. And then all the naysayers will flip back over to, yay, Global. So, yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. So there you go. That was my rant about part 2 of the celebration. It's more about people's reactions to part 2 of the celebration more than anything. So let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. If you are someone who, even after watching this video, you still are genuinely disappointed with part 2 of the celebration, I mean, like I said, it's no different than part 2 of the celebration was on JP. So honestly, I don't think it's anything to get twisted about. Just save your stones. I would recommend, unless you are a massive whale that buys stones very regularly, don't summon on the LR banner. I got lucky with my summons, but just like any legendary banner, you could easily go like 500 stones and not pull an LR. So I don't think it's really worth it, especially because the data miners and people like Kawhi have been hinting that something huge is going to be coming in December. So this is just a good time to save your stones, get all the missions done, get a bunch of extra free stones, and see what's coming up round the corner. So there you go. That is going to be it for the video. I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea and de-stress. I'm still a proud global main, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. You can follow me on Twitch or join my Discord. The link is in the description below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.